What is up, YouTube? Beautiful Sunday, round 2. We got the transmission all buttoned up, minus the linkage stuff and some of the stuff I gotta swap over from the other one. Not that big of a deal, but she is put together. Torque converter's obviously not in, no fluids, none of the actual assembly stuff yet, but that should, in theory, fingers crossed, work just fine when we go to slap it all back together. Now, dilemma that I am running into. I have 3 motors in the corner of the garage, all of which can come apart or come off of the stand, but in order to get to those now, I have a transmission on the ground here, all of the parts that need to go back on the Falcon there, engine on a cherry picker on a driveway that sucks to roll motors, bikes over here, bikes there, and I have 3 engine stands and need to work on this engine. I haven't decided what I want to do yet. I do have another engine stand back at the shop as well. I don't know how well it's put together. It might be missing some bolts and things like that too. But I need to take the top end of this motor off and the front cover off. I'm trying to decide if I want to just do that on the ground here. I'd like to have it on a stand, but I don't know if I want to flip-flop and move all of this just to do that. 2 bikes plus a motor across a cracked garage floor doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me. So decisions, not sure what to do. I could just jump in the truck, run up there and grab one of the engine stands. This should only be a part for a day, so all I gotta do is disassemble it, clean all the gasket surfaces, throw a new cam in, and heads. That's all I have to do, I guess. So what let's see, let me think about that. I'll come back when I figure out a game plan on how we're gonna flip-flop all of these. Alright, new plan for now. I decided I don't want to run to the shop because I don't know how nice those engine stands are at the shop. I think it's only a 3-leg. I don't like doing motor work on the 3-leg ones, but this 351 over here is on a 4-leg, well, 3-leg, but it's got the T-bar instead of the single post. That one's taller, so this is the one I like working on, which means FXR's got to go, iron head's got to go, and I can either jiggle that motor across the driveway, which sucks, or I can just move the Super Glide and kind of cut them on an angle. So Super Glide's going to go out in the driveway, which is good. Maybe if it's outside on a beautiful day like this, I'll be motivated to actually ride the thing at some point. But I'm going to roll that out, sneak these 2 bikes out, shift this motor over, undo the cherry picker. It's pretty balanced right now as it sits. As long as I don't knock it, it should be fine. Strap that one up, bolt the motor mount onto this, and play some flip-flop. .351's down on the ground. At some point, I really would like to get this motor back in. Then we got the 302 ready for heads up on the stand. So I got the other handle, one of those ones over there. This is way too much work. This is what happens when you have too much crap and can't let anything go. So now this is on the lift, we can start digging into this motor. I really apologize about the mics because people are cutting grass and it's getting loud out here. So 3 motorcycles outside, that was easier than going to, well, that was way harder than going to the shop, let's be honest, but I didn't want to use a crappy stand. I like these. I can actually torque everything down on this one. Holds up much better. So I'm gonna take a quick little break, have a beverage, and then we'll start ripping apart this timing cover. I think we're gonna start with the timing set, then the heads, and then we can kind of double check cam things. He ran this entire setup in the prior car, so I'm hoping not to have any issues. I just gotta verify push ride length and do some valve adjustment stuff, but for the most part, I'm gonna go for a junkyard used part, slap it on, and see what happens. Like I said, I know the bottom end of this motor is good. Now we're gonna be changing that by putting a cam in, so we'll see how that plays out. Quick little short break there, not that long. Grab myself a non-beer beverage. I'm being responsible. It's only like noon, 11:30. We'll wait for beers another hour or so. Anyways, I got this all set up in the garage now. I'm gonna move this. I think I'm gonna move this closer to the toolbox just so I don't have to keep grabbing a bunch of tools, or I can roll the service cart out. I haven't decided yet, but I want to, I gotta go run some errands. We just put a brand new grill together, so I gotta go get some grill food since we didn't do 4th of July. We're doing that today, and it's beautiful out, and my buddy's in town from Utah, so I gotta run to the gas station, stock up on some stuff. But I think I'm gonna do a spill and fill on this while it's apart. So I'm gonna drain this and just let it drain all the oil out since we might be rolling it. I don't anticipate having to flip this motor completely over, but I might be turning it here and there, at least, you know, quarter of the way to get the heads off. So I'm gonna drain the oil anyway because it's well overdue, and get this pretty much freshened up. We'll pop the filter off, pop the pan off. We're gonna silicone up a new piece. This is a powder coating plug in the oil pan. That's what's been leaking on here. One of the big leaks on here. The other one, there's a little bit of oil on the front, but I'm not really seeing a lot of it. I think most of it's up here in the valve covers, to be completely honest. I got the blue one-piece ones up there too, but we'll take a closer look when we get the heads off. I know the AFRs on my truck sealed up way better than the stock cast heads. And the whole front dress is coming off anyway, so hopefully we can reseal this up a little bit better too. But yeah, quick little spill and fill. Then we'll get rolling on the rest of that. Yeah, we're moving closer to the tools. That way I can get away from all the lawnmower noise. So this is our new workspace for now. Pop this off, and I got a bench. I don't remember if I did an oil change on this after I did the motor break-in. Can't keep them straight anymore. Yeah, she's pretty dirty. That's what we're doing now, right? I'm not seeing any metal shavings in here. It's the only reason I'm keeping the camera on. No metal shavings or chunk. Definitely got some miles on it. Not a ton, but we're probably at about that 500 mark anyway for break-in. So I'm gonna run out and do some errands. We'll come back, yank the filter off, and then we'll start playing on the front. Start there, get all of this off. That gives us a ton of room. Then we can get into the heads. Looking this over real quick, and I remember the motor pull video? Gotta get a distributor cap and a rotor. I sheared the tongue off the rotor too. No wheel. But I'm gonna grab a paint marker and mark this right here. I know it's all gonna change and we're gonna retime it, but I just wanna have a quick reference for where that's at on the motor. I'll use this on the timing cover in line with the nipple for the vac advance. Just throw a mark on there. Not at all totally necessary. It will be just fine without it. Stabbing distributors in from scratch isn't the worst thing in the world either. And we have a bunch of things to check and verify. But I just figured if I can make it a little easier on myself, I at least have a rough idea of where that's going to be clocked. Then obviously we can figure out which one's going to be after, but typically that's where I run one. So now I got that one up there and the timing mark down here. Should be alright. Back from errands and shopping and... ooh, these guys are dirty. Back from errands and grabbing stuff for later on today. So now we get to start pulling this thing apart. I think what I'm going to do is rotate this a little bit. this way. Where do I want you? Something like that. And I can reach back and grab all of my tools. But timing cover wise, not all that much. I got a little bit of a leak in this drain pan, unfortunately, which I just found out now. Would have been nice to know prior. But here's what we're looking at. Timing cover. So we're gonna have to loosen the belt, pop that off. Actually, this whole front assembly is gonna have to come off. Kind of a pain in the ass. Oh well. I'll start at the top and work my way down, I guess. We'll start with the distributor that I broke. That's all marked now. Quick and easy. 1/2-inch wrench. Luckily, again, this is all going onto a motor that was already running, so it's going to be a lot less work, I think, in order to put all of this back. Roller cam motor, so we got the steel gear in here. Just good to verify that all of that's still good, which it is. So set this in the pile of other parts that need to go back up. Distributor's off. Might as well pop the intake off. Intake time. I'm blasting this all apart with the impact. I'm not going to take my time on any of this because this all worked. You just got to disconnect this one off the thermostat housing. I'm not pulling the whole thermostat, but I'll take the hoses off here. Put a little crossover. Oh no! Didn't want to drop that. Whew, got lucky. Stuck on the pulley. Almost lost another socket into the oil tray. It's the fun part, right? I got a big tray of oil underneath this, so anything I drop goes right into it. I'm not the biggest fan of this hose. It's a very hard bend. Leave the thermostat on there. I did order a new thermostat for whatever intake I end up using. I haven't decided on that one yet, but bolts are all loose here. I'll grab a pry bar. That'll do. Intake is now free. I'm gonna take this off with all the bolts in it, hopefully. That's the game plan, at least. Turn this fuel line out of the way. Strong silicone. Alright, our ever-growing pile of parts. Gaskets can come off. We're not reusing these. This one actually held up pretty well. We'll get all this set, and then we got a whole lot of scraping and cleaning to do. You don't have to do the fuel stuff first, but it makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to take off this lower fuel line too, just because it's in my way. This off the pump. See if I can snake that around the coil bracket. There we go. Now we'll start pulling off the timing cover stuff, alternator, and all of these other parts on the head. Yay! Everything we take off, we get to clean the crap out of and slap right back on. Alright, now we're on to the timing cover. Flip around, so I turned everything towards the garage door. And I drained most of the oil out of this pan because it was leaking, and a small little drip that I didn't realize was cracked. So we need to loosen the tensioner first, which is going to be this one right here. Like so. Now that, in theory, should be free to slide around, but it never works out that way. Well, once I loosen this, I can get to that other one. And that essentially loosens the alternator. I'll pull the dipstick out. hopefully. Let's just pop the belt off. Add that to the pile of crap. And then, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna pull the alternator first and then the dipstick. Just a little bit more room. Do not want to lose our fancy long bolt here. So we got a spacer, gold spacer, and one washer. Slap all of this right back together the way it came out. Just like that. Through the alternator. Like so. This will dangle. Not ideal, I'm most likely going to lose that. I could pull the tensioner bolt all the way out, but no need. Now we're going to pull off this lower bracket, and that'll take off the entire alternator. I like trying to keep everything together. I say that every time. It just makes it a lot easier in terms of reassembly. So now I got both bolts and the alternator. So this is my parts pile. Normally I use the table, but that's occupied with all of the crap that I don't know what it is, and I'm not going through all of that right now. Just leave the drip tray up there for whatever spills out here. Now, crank can stay. No, it can't. I'm gonna have to pull the balancer. So, crank pulley can stay. You gotta yank the balancer out of here. It should be fun. I'm gonna need my impact for that one. What else can we take off before that? While I'm sitting here comfortably. Water pump pulley. And the pulley alignment game on Ford stuff is terrible. I had to go through so many different versions of these to make all of this work. Because I didn't have a stock V-belt set. I had the SERP belt. I got a plethora of SERP belt pulleys, but trying to convert the new style motor to the old style look means V-belts, and what a pain. I like it much better. I'll show you on that 351, but actually that one's not too bad. That runs V-belts too. But all the bracketry on a 90s, 80s Fox body or something, hideous in my opinion. But there's all of that. Now we can separate the water pump. So we got bolts that run all the way along the outside of the water pump. We'll start with this bracket. Long one. Short one. Like so. I'm going to drop this into the water pump as soon as we're done. Then we just start on the inside. And I did upgrade this to a stainless alloy bolt, I think it was called. All the stainless hardware stuff. Trying my best. I don't know if it's going to stay or if I'm going to lose all these and have to redo it. But if I can keep all these bolts together when I separate the water pump from this, it makes it a little bit easier because there's a lot of them and it's a lot of guessing. And got 2 pinch bolts on the back side. Good. The pinch bolts are on the cover. So here's our water pump. Still leaking coolant somehow. Lay that one down over there. And then I'll throw these brackets right back on here too. Ish. Yeah, that's right. Now, when we get back to the timing cover. I got 2 1/2-inch bolts up here, so I'm going to separate those real quick. Break these ones here first. Can't get a socket in here. I did replace this timing cover when I built this motor with the, I think it's a Dorman one, but it's a universal fit, which is really nice. It's got provisions and freeze plugs for all of the variations of Ford timing covers, because there were a lot over the years. Don't ask me what they were, because I'm not an expert in that regard. Timing marker. 2 bolts there. I got a couple on the bottom. I do have studs on this. Ah, shit. How is that gonna work? Maybe we'll get lucky. We'll let future me solve that problem. Try and get these out here. I'm gonna try and see if I can cheat this around the balancer. I'm guessing I gotta pull it. Not that big of a deal. Well, it's gonna have to come off anyway when I do the cam, I guess, so really not helping myself by trying to skip a step. Whatever, let's pull them off. Crank pulley, we got 2 washers under that one for whatever reason. I'll put these right back in the balancer in a second. I marked this up already. Alright, so 3 bolts on that. Nice old school style. Grab the impact, pop the nut out, put the balancer puller on here, yank this out. Keep forgetting I have that cam. Hence my confusion there. Run over, grab some the impact and some other tools to rip this pulley off along with the puller. Onto the balancer. So we got 15/16 socket. Electric impact. Because my little baby compressor sucks at everything. Back this off. Go in there and then get a cheapo Amazon balancer puller. So we'll thread these guys in. Should be 3/8 bolts. If I remember correctly. You can use the washers too, it's probably a good idea. But whatever. I missed center. That's a little better. Balancer's off. We're good to go. There's definitely a little bit of oil coming around this seal. I don't remember if I ordered a new one or not, so if I have one, I'll replace it. If I don't have one, oh well. A little oil leak, not that big of a deal. Timing cover is pretty much good to go. I'll pull out the dipstick. I will be siliconing this too, because I definitely have some oil around here. And I just dropped all my timing bolts. Yay. On the timing cover, we have bolts that go in from the oil pan. So that's the last bit. You gotta get out of here. And like I said, I did swap these out already with, what do you call it? Stainless sets. And I put studs in, which means I gotta pull those off too. 4 of them. So 4 bolts, 2 7/16 on the outsides, 2 1/2-inch. Not bolt size, socket size. In worst case, if I do have to pull the oil pan for this, it's not that big of a deal. It is 1-piece gasket. So we'll have to re-silicone the corners of this anyway. Oh shit, I am gonna have to pull the pan. Or I can pull the studs. Pan or studs. Or move on to the heads. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna move on to the heads and then I'll flip the motor over. We'll just pull the pan real quick. I'm gonna have to re-gasket this anyway. But then we can get a quick little visual inspection of the internals. Shouldn't be that bad, I think.